I'm a marriage and family therapist, and one of the most common cases that come to me is as follows. A couple comes for therapy, and I can tell right away that the wife is kind of dragging her husband into the session. And they sit down, and he kind of shrugs his shoulders, doesn't want to say anything. And his wife brings out a whole list of problems she has with her husband. So what does the therapist do with that information? He's starting to withdraw, and she has so much to say and so much to complain about. How do we help such a couple? Well, I want to give you one of the secrets of marriage therapy, and it's called attachment theory. Attachment theory tells us that there are 3 styles of attachment that all couples have. And we could see this when they walk into your office. What are the 3 styles of attachment? The first style is called secure attachment. Now, secure attachment is something which happens to somebody when they're a little child. When a baby is born, that baby, let's say, is held warmly by his mother. The mother can give the child love, affection, take care of the kid's physical needs. She can dress the child. She can feed the child. She can make sure the child goes to the doctor if the child is sick. And more importantly than that, the mother expresses a lot of interest in what the child is feeling. So if one day the kid comes home from school and says, "Mommy, I got potched in school," mommy goes, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. You were potched. Tell me more about your feelings." Or one day, let's say a daughter comes home and she tells the daughter, "I see you look so sad. You want to tell me how you're feeling?" And the daughter starts crying, and the mother says, "Let me hold you and listen to your feelings." That is called secure attachment, when a mother spends a lot of time loving and giving to the child. But most importantly, when the child feels that he or she is listened to, the child develops what we call secure attachment. And here's the wonder of secure attachment. If you have secure attachment, you not only have it as a child, you take it with you the rest of your life. So 20, 25 years later, you get married or try to get married, you will more easily experience these feelings of attachment and be able to get close to somebody else. What's another style of attachment? The second style is called anxious attachment. What if somebody had a mother who's very worried all the time and very anxious or very preoccupied? She has problems in her own family, there's a physical illness, there's poverty, there's violence in their family, there's trauma, and the mother's really not around so much. The child kind of feels like the mother loves him or her, but he's not sure because mommy's here sometimes, and most of the time mommy is just so involved and preoccupied with other people. That child develops what we call anxious attachment. The child doesn't know if he or she is really loved, and they wonder, "Do you really love me, mommy? Are you really here for me?" And 20 or 25 years later, that child tries to get married, and as an adult, he or she experiences a lot of anxiety in their marriage. She would say, "Do you really love me? Do you really care about me?" And the third style of attachment is called avoidant attachment. Let's say someone had a mother who was cold and distant, or could even be abusive. She didn't care about the child's feelings. The child was feeling very frustrated. He would come home from school and say, "Mommy, I was potched." And the mother would say, "Not interested. Be stronger. Take care of it yourself." That's what we call avoidant attachment. Whatever the child would try to communicate with the mother would reject the child's feelings. And what does the child think? The child thinks like this inside unconsciously. If I ask for what I need from my mother, I'm only going to be met with rejection. So it's safer not to ask for what I need. And that child develops an avoidance for closeness and an avoidance for emotion. Let's go back to our couple. The couple comes in. The husband sits down and kind of shrugs. And the wife pulls out a list of all her problems. "My husband doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. He's never home on time. We don't have enough money," and so on and so on. What are we really looking at? What we're really looking at is 2 different attachment styles. The husband in this case is presenting what we call an avoidant attachment style. He's avoiding talking to her a lot. He's avoiding talking to her about his feelings. He comes home sometimes. He shrugs, he's not interested in talking. He gets on the phone, he goes and surfs the internet, but he can't communicate with his wife. His wife is wondering all the time, "Do you love me? Do you really care about me? You don't bring me flowers. You don't text me little messages during the day. You don't ever tell me you love me. And that's what that couple is really fighting about. They're not fighting about small things. They're not even fighting about money. They sometimes think they're fighting about how the husband is messy with his toothbrush or he doesn't pick up his socks in the morning. That's what they're not really talking about. What this couple is really fighting for is this deep desire for what we call attachment. She is longing for attachment. She is longing for closeness, but he's uncomfortable with that closeness. About 70% of all the couples that come for marriage therapy have this different type of attachment style. One person is anxious, he or she pursues closeness while the other person avoids closeness. And that's what many couples are really fighting about. Think about in your marriage, which one of you is avoiding closeness and which one of you is pursuing closeness? If this is not working right, there'll be a lot of fighting going on. And it works like this. One person pursues, but overwhelms the other person who's avoidant, and he or she will tend to withdraw. But here's the problem. The more that person withdraws, the more the other person is going to pursue closeness. What we have is what we call pursue, withdraw, withdraw, pursue. That couple's going to be fighting all the time. But here's the secret to marriage. It can all be changed. It's quite simple. If the person that withdraws a lot starts withdrawing less, starts showing some affection, starts texting messages, buying flowers for his wife, doing those little things which make her feel loved, she begins to calm down. And if she's the anxious one who pursues a lot, if she's a little less critical, if she's more of accepting of his emotions, then that couple comes together and they experience what we call a greater sense of attachment. And that could be experienced by all couples with a little bit of work. Welcome to this new series on Hidabrut called Marriage Matters. My name is Rabbi Daniel Schonbuch, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist based in New York and around the world via Skype. On this important series, I will be answering your questions you have about marriage, relationships, dating, parenting, and about any issue dealing with family and relationships. But more than what I have to say, I want to hear what you have to say. So please email to this address and send in your questions, and I'll try to answer as many questions on this new show.